It's Wednesday, April 25th, 2012. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Lupin III, the woman called Fujiko Mine.
Let's do this. So I got this paper in the mail the other day.
Uh-oh. Mail is never good news.
I rarely get mail. I actually have eliminated all junk mail. And just to tell you the strategy of eliminating all junk mail, right? This is the strategy. Number one, there's a website. There's only one legitimate website. It's hard to tell it's legitimate because it doesn't look legitimate, but it's a real website. It's called Opt-Out Prescreen. And if you go to this website, it's legitimate. It works. There's only one that works. Make sure you get the right one because there's fake ones. You can opt out of all credit pre-screens, so no one out there can pre-screen your credit score to determine if they're going to mail you junk mail for bullshit like student loan consolidation. After going to that website, before going to the website, I used to get letters constantly like get a credit card, get a this, get a that, get a this, right? And as soon as I went to that website, within a week, I haven't gotten any of that bullshit mail since. Number two, right? Whenever you do get a mail, for example, if you go to buy something in EMS with a credit card, they got you. Or Bed Bath & Beyond, they got you. And they start sending you coupons and shit in the mail. Specifically, go to each one of those places and say, EMS, stop sending me shit. Bed Bath & Beyond, stop sending me shit. And they'll stop sending you shit. And because of that, and also what I do is every place I have a bill pay, I choose the paperless option. So it's internet.
As well one should.
So it's internet only. And so I hardly ever get anything in the mail except tax forms and Netflix, and that's it. So I got something in the mail. I was like, whoa. And it wasn't just bullshit. So I was like, whoa. It was a student loan bill. And I was like, wait a minute. That shit's auto pay, yo. And what's up with this?
Student loan?
So I'm like, do I have to pay this or is it going to auto pay? Because apparently what happened is the government used to, federal direct loan, whatever, used to be the thing. But what they did is they found these other people like Ed Financial, and now Ed Financial is managing the loans even though the loans are unchanged. So they changed the management company.
Fascinating.
And the website, yeah. So anyway, I'm like, do I have to pay this or is auto pay still working? So I called up Ed Financial and I was like, hey, do I have to pay this? They're like, no, auto pay will still work. I'm like, oh, okay. How do I make you stop mailing me shit? And they're like, go to the web. I'm like, are you going to mail me something every time, even though auto pay is on? They're like, yeah, you have to go to the website to cancel that. I'm like, oh, great. And then I was like, wait a minute. How much student loan do I have left? And they were like, oh, a little less than $9,000. And I'm like, So I paid that shit. Boom. That's it. It's gone. Because it was $200. Think about it this way, right? I was paying $214 a month. And the interest rate was 2.11%. That's guaranteed 2.11% no tax. So by paying that off, that's like investing $9,000 and getting a 2.11% return. And there's no way I could do that guaranteed in this environment, right? I mean, savings account's going to give you 0.00000%.
Yeah, it's pretty much the exact right move to make in your situation at
so
this time.
So now it's I got a raise, even though my bank account went.
Unless the opportunity cost of that money was more.
It was going to sit in my checking account.
Oh, there you go. Then.
Yeah, but it's so now it's my checking account went, but I got a raise of $200 a month. It
was a big deal. When I paid off my student loan some years ago, the last one, I didn't really think about it because they've just been auto paying forever. And then, I got my first paychecks for the 2 months after that, and then I had this extra money, and I was like, wait a minute. I could just spend all this extra money, not change anything.
$200 a month is actually a lot. I can get Zipcar and profit or, who knows what. But
not technically profit.
I'm just saying.
But anyway.
I'm not going to do any of that, but it's just yeah.
So,
and now I'm also debt-free, which means I can run away at any fucking time.
I've been debt-free for many years. You know what?
How come you haven't run away?
Because I enjoy spending a lot of money.
I'm telling you what, as soon as I get the opportunity, if I rebuild that savings, I'm gone. See ya.
The thing is, I think the moment of truth for me was the day when I realized that my average monthly credit card bill was equal to what I still owed on my student loan. And I was like, yeah, paying that off.
You got it way low.
I paid it off a long time ago.
Yeah, you know what, though? I'm pretty sure I still have a lot of student loan that my parents are paying, but that's their problem. And they gave me, they like would pay
Tell
rent.
your mom to listen to the show, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they paid the rent for Colony and stuff a bunch of times. Not getting that back.
I didn't pay the rent a bunch of times.
Good job.
Nothing really came of it. Actually, really nothing. But anyway,
Except for the car repo.
that was a separate. So not paying the rent had nothing to do with not paying the car payment. While they had the same root cause, the effects were different. The effect of not paying rent was zero.
Anyway.
No effect.
So anything going on for you?
This made the rounds, and I feel like I should talk about it, but I'm not that interested in the specifics of the actual event, other than that it's kind of hilarious. But the fact that this made the rounds is interesting, and it drummed up a whole bunch of secondary conversations. I figure I'll start with just this. Someone tweeted, good old tweet, and the tweet was from AICN Anime.
Ain't it cool news?
I know.
He's a really good tweeter.
He is.
He tweets all sorts of obscure, awesome anime shit.
He's right up there with Daryl Surratt in terms of people I follow and enjoy.
He's awesome.
So
I think his name's Scott too, but it's not me.
Quote, Boston Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing looking anime Boston attendee crime bad behavior.
Uh-huh.
Now, when I saw that, I sort of immediately noticed it was getting retweeted a whole bunch, and there were discussions popping up everywhere. And when I thought about it, I thought about all the conventions I've been to in my entire life, and based purely on either privileged information, where while I have some semi-reasonable backing, it is not information I can share because I got it from trusted sources, and also confirmation bias and completely anecdotal bullshit.
That's right.
I feel like the kinds of things that this article talks about happen way more at AnimeCon specifically than other kinds of conventions.
I don't know. Pretty much every convention you go to has some sort of, drama or events.
Yeah, but I'm
or
talking
fiascos.
specifically about police involved, someone is taken away, like hospitalization due to something other than just like heat stroke or dehydration.
I haven't seen a lot of hospitalizations.
Scott,
except
there's been an ambulance at some point at every AnimeCon we've been to.
Right, but they're mostly, I think most of them are that kind of, there's a person who's sick legitimately.
No, it's almost always for the rave.
Yeah, sometimes.
I've seen an ambulance.
I've seen a few
at
in my day.
the majority of the Otakons I've been to that was involved with the rave in some fashion.
Really, I was usually eating during then, so I wouldn't know.
I used to go to those things.
You did. But, police involvement, I mean, even PAX, the cops show up once or, so, right? It's like, no matter what, even like auto show, the cops show up once or something. Because, there was the PAX where someone tried to steal the source code and...
All right, so wait, that's a very different class of incident of one guy committing what I would call a real crime versus the, like, underage drunken party or someone flips out at the rave and passes out. Or fire code violation, crazy party.
Some conventions don't have a rave, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's something that's gonna. If you have a rave, that's the kind of thing that might happen.
I mean, my experience as staff
is.
at conventions through the years has taught me that the majority of incidents that involve the police and or the likelihood of police at conventions it's like half and half between the rave and shoplifters in the dealer's room.
Yeah, shoplifters
like
in the dealer's room.
50-50.
Yep. Theft is always a concern at every convention.
Yeah, but this incident in particular is interesting because literally, according to the article, and I looked around, this is the only legitimate news source I can find on it. Bad draw for Hotel Anime Party by Laurel J. Sweet and Dave Wedge. So it took two people to write this 2-paragraph. I guess they split it up.
Well, because they
each.
couldn't just get something from the AP Newswire. They actually had to journalize and go and investigate.
Yeah, but they didn't. So here's what I find hilarious about this. The first paragraph points out that the hotel has to testify now before the mayor's office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, which seems odd.
What's odd about it?
So the mayor's office for Consumer Affairs and Licensing.
Yeah, because it's Anime Boston.
Yep.
I think that, the city sort of gives permission for these things. And, it's the Boston, whatever, Convention Center, Massachusetts
so I point
Convention
out
Center Authority.
That my point is that this is the branch that's investigating this because they don't say what they're going to testify about specifically other than the incident. But the fact that it's this office as opposed to some other office lets us read into a lot of what is going to be discussed there. Because if it's licensing due to the fact that Anime Boston, the name, could reflect on the city of Boston, that is not a conversation I think Anime Boston wants to be involved in.
No, but I mean, it's just no matter what you do, especially if you do something big that involves 20,000 plus people, there is at least one regulatory body of some government that is, has some control over you. And this happens to be one of them, and it's probably upset for PR reasons.
But at the same time, the fact that this is the event that causes this, which was a hotel party, which, in my opinion, has nothing to do with the convention. The convention shouldn't even be involved in that.
Well, what was it? The official rave or the
No, Scott. This incident is let's see. See, there are two incidents. There was a hotel room thing that happened.
So it was in a hotel room.
And there was the
But it was not an official
Scott, and there was the fact that the rave got shut down supposedly by the police.
So the rave is Anime Boston's problem because that's their official event.
Yes, but that's not what this article is about.
Oh.
This article is about, quote, here, police reported dangerous overcrowding, pot possession, a passed-out partygoer, and an assault at the Fete for Anime Boston 2012 fans. The celebration of Japanese cartoons drew thousands of costume fans to the Heinz Convention Center, blah, 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 blah. At 1 a.m. on April 8th, cops showed up at a party at the Sheraton.
But the thing is, that could be an official Anime Boston thing.
Exactly. The article doesn't say.
Oh, so was it an official Anime
The
Boston
article
party?
doesn't say.
Or, well, that matters a lot.
I know, and the article doesn't say.
Great. Way to go, two people investigating. Can't even get the important information.
Yep. What's funny is they reported, and I love this quote, a clearly disturbed 20-year-old male who'd been kicking and punching EMTs.
Alrighty.
And less than an ounce of pot.
All right.
Why is that even? In the beginning, it's like marijuana possession. Then it's like less than an ounce.
That's one of those things where it's like you get someone for something and then you search them for every other possible thing. You know?
Yep.
It's like, oh, we caught this guy robbing a convenience store. And when we searched him, we found a gun and an ounce of crack. It's like, well, add it to the list. It's there. But the the half ounce of weed wasn't the trigger. It was the punching and kicking of the EMTs.
Yeah, well, and the, quote, dangerous overcrowding, whatever. But here's the other thing. We're picking apart this tiny article. I point out that it's not Anime Boston that is even testifying here.
I know. It's
the management of the hotel, which, while is tied to the convention center pretty tightly, is a distinct entity in some regards.
It is.
Now, what really makes this interesting is that, one, there's a discussion in the forum where someone's like, hey, why was the informal dance shut down? What happened? And
informal dance.
And the response from Anime Boston was, we'll post more information later. They haven't yet, obviously. Actually, wait. Okay, great. Look at this. Anime Boston staff will post information about this within the near future, sometime this week or so. That was posted on April 8th.
Okay.
I don't see any further information.
I don't think that many people care.
Yeah, except we can't tell how many people care because, quote, to prevent the spread of rumors and misinformation, I'm locking this thread.
I guess, okay, people, listen up, right? It's the internet. Anyone can post information they want anywhere on the internet, and you can't stop them.
You're better off having it in your domain where you can at least respond to it in a centralized place
and see all of it.
Instead of having the discussion about the incident on the Geeknights forum and the other one on the Fast Karate forum.
Locking threads, banning, all that kind of stuff is stupid and only creates drama. You just allow people just to talk freely. And things will be much better off.
I'll qualify that. You still ban the spammers, the usual stuff.
Spam is different from, some guy who's strongly disagreeing with you and fighting with you and you don't like what he's saying.
Yeah, but there are situations where I'm fine with the bans and all these things. Locking a thread that's just a shitfest. But in this case, it only bothers me when anyone, I'm not singling out Anime Boston here by any means, when there's a controversial thing, it's like their first go-to thing, especially fan-run conventions, is to hush it up as much as possible and lock and delete any threads in their own forums related to it.
Yeah, it's like, no, just let it go.
Even though, well, we'll see. So the other thing that's interesting is in a related discussion, I'm gonna quote an executive for Anime Boston
Whoa.
from the forum.
Whoa, okay. So if they post in the forum, that's effectively an official statement.
Now this was an unrelated story about someone who claimed a drunken staffer banged on their hotel room door in the middle of the night and demanded to search it.
We've had that kind of problem before.
That happened to us. At
It wasn't a
Boston last
staffer
year,
though. It was just a dumb other kid.
who was also drunk.
Yeah.
Quote, as part of working with the hotel, they prefer to have us involved in things like this when the room is part of our block. I suppose it helps to make sure we're in the loop as possible. We're as in the loop as possible.
Wow.
Continuing, most conferences, as in like professionals having a big meeting, involve a lot of drunk people. Handling situations like this is definitely not something that the hotel will be surprised by. If anything, allowing us to handle disturbance calls is something of a courtesy before hotel security calls the real place. No! No.
Why do you? Someone's in their hotel room. Why should that have anything to do with your convention?
Even
Be
if
like,
it's in your room block, you gotta stay as far away from that as possible.
yeah,
because
that
the
has
moment-
nothing to do with you.
And this is my main point.
Let the real police come.
This is my main point. There are incidents that happen at all sorts of conventions.
Even like they said, ones with office guys at conferences for financial bullshit.
Now, at the same time,
Even when the president goes to Colombia.
those conventions, like for example, whatever drama happens at PAX, they're pretty open about explaining what happened. And two, they don't get involved in stuff that happens outside of the convention.
Yeah, if you make trouble in the PAX hotel, PAX has nothing to do with that.
If the hotel kicks you out, well, that's your fault.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't understand this hotel doing these kind of things, right? It's like,
No, if I ran a hotel, I would never let the staff of a convention knock on rooms, like
Yeah.
doors of rooms. Now, I don't know if that itself was allowed because they basically said that wasn't allowed, and there's a whole other drama there. But the fact that
it's like the only people who are going to knock on any room doors are police, people who are trying to visit, just like I'm trying to knock on Rim's door because I'm his next door neighbor or something, legitimate door knocking, or hotel staff. That's it. Not gonna have convention staff. It's like you're not hotel staff. You're not doing shit here. What are you gonna do? Have the convention staff clean some rooms? Maybe have some hotel staff do some panels? It's like, come on, no, that's not how it works.
So I found that whole part of it really interesting too. But I guess in all this, I'm wondering if this will be a change just for Anime Boston, because if the hotel management now has to talk to the city about whatever incident, then that might force the hotels that are actually connected to deal with something that is a problem for pretty much every big anime con. Every room has 12 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
And if the hotels actually enforce occupancy,
The convention attendance will go dee.
or the hotels will all be full and there won't be rooms for anyone else.
Also true.
We'll see. I've got a lot of other things to say about attendance and like the way people act at cons, but that's not the thing I want to focus on.
But then anything about this, if you can't actually get 7 people in a room because they crack down and they actually check and you get kicked out, right? It's like a lot of those punk kids couldn't afford the hotel room unless they have 7 people's worth of money.
Yeah.
So they won't even be able to come at all, regardless of whether the hotel's full or not.
Now, one final interesting piece of all this is that, of course, people are commenting on it all over
so
the
this
place.
one's not locked?
No, out on the internet. The whole, the thing that was tweeted that was the progenitor of this whole conversation.
Oh, so not the drunken
Because we
staff
knew,
story, but
people
the,
were texting me while I was at PAX saying, "Yo, dog, cops are at Anime Boston. Shit's going down." So it's not
that's
like
not
that
a
was
yo
news.
dog.
They just said like yo dog does not necessarily mean the yo dog.
It does.
I was not using the royal yo dog. Sometimes people colloquially will say yo dog.
No, that's just yo.
You can say yo dog.
No, not unless it's yo dog. I put X in your X.
Scott, that's the royal yo dog.
I heard you like X. I put it in your X.
One side thing, dances at anime cons are a cesspool of bullshit drama. And as much as I used to like them, I feel like the cons would be better served getting rid of them.
I think you could just make them better.
Well, I think you could. However, I don't think any fan anime con can, because it would require professionals.
It would also require changing the existing culture and existing expectations.
No. You could fix
People-
it without changing the culture top down, but then you would have to have professional people managing the rave itself.
Right,
in
but
a
I'm saying is that
heavy-handed manner.
you would have this rave, but you're going to change the way you're going to change raves at cons, right? So you have your different rave. all these people show up expecting the
Yeah, and you know
usual,
what? The first year, the people who expect that get kicked out.
and they're going to come in and do what they expect to happen there.
And they get kicked out, and then the other people who generally avoid it come in. There's
they're
two
not
ways.
going to come in because they're also expecting the usual.
No, because word travels fast in the modern era. I think top down can work just as well as seated bottom up. However, I think top down is impossible at fan conventions, having staffed Otakon, Kineticon, Katsucon in my time,
All right.
among other cons. And I think seated bottom up can't work because I've been to anime cons
Right.
for the last decade.
So anyway, I got some news here.
Okay. No,
right?
the only last thing is that people commenting on this are making the dumbest possible recommendations as to what Anime Boston should do. The most common one is you should make the dance 18 plus, and the badges should be coded like MagFest does with their wristbands, so I know if someone's jailbait. Anyway. So look at this whole shitstorm from this tiny tweet, and we still don't know what really happened.
Whatever. Who cares? Typical con drama bullshit. So here's some real news that's actually really good news.
Uh-oh.
So Tor, if you don't know, Tor is a sci-fi book publisher that is a imprint of Macmillan, right? So there's really only 5 big book publishers.
Not Tor the Router or Tor the Guy
Exactly.
with Burning Wheel.
Right. There's only really 5 or 6 big book publishers in the U.S., and all the other publishers are small, whatever, right? But all of those publishers are really big and have a bunch of smaller imprints and labels underneath them, right? And I think it's like Macmillan, Hachette. I don't remember all of them, right? But anyway, so Macmillan, their sci-fi books are published under the label Tor. Tor, coincidentally, is Cory Doctorow's publisher, right? But anyway, that's related to the story because they just decided to abandon all DRMs on their ebooks.
Hooray!
Hooray! I can now buy ebooks legitimately instead of just, pirating or only getting free Gutenberg books. And so that's pretty awesome. And what's interesting is you read this article, and it's on Forbes, and it's actually a pretty long, significant article. It's funny because there's a picture of Neil Gaiman in the article, that picture of him with his white dog, but there aren't any quotes from him or even mentions of him. But anyway, the thing is, there's like multiple quotes in here from like book publishers and Charlie Strauss and all these people, and one anonymous publishing executive, all talking about how, DRM, we let Amazon and Apple control us and all, they're saying all the right things, but it's like, why you do this now? It's 2012. You should have had this shit in 98, right? You're only, 10, 15 years too late.
The thing is, the entire industry is just as late, if not even there yet.
Yeah, but they're sort of, I'm hoping that this causes a wave of DRM free across the board. But the thing this is really going to cause, right, is obviously piracy is not going to go up, right? That's just not going to happen because anyone who wants to pirate's already pirating. It's not going to change. Sales might go up because all those people, sort of like me who are like, I'm not buying your no DRM book, might buy them. But they got to lower the price, right? I'm not paying. I went to Amazon the other day. I was looking at this book. The hardcover book, the paperback cover book price was $10.97. The Kindle price was $9.99. It's like, no, right? Even if it's, and the thing is, in the article, they sort of talk about how, people weren't willing to pay as much because they weren't actually getting the book. They were just getting this license. And I'm like, no, I'm not willing to pay as much because I'm getting some file and not paper. If you give me a file, whether it's DRM'd or not, you're getting like $1. Yeah, it's pretty.
The thing is, I don't want paper at all anymore.
That's true, but I'm not willing to pay. Even though I don't want paper.
Scott, the cost of the paper is the minority of the, why it costs what it costs.
I know, but I'm still not willing to pay a lot for a file.
No, I think the argument's very simple. Regardless of piracy, even if piracy didn't exist, no piracy in the entire world, and no secondary market for any new media because of crazy DRM.
Mm-hmm.
There's already enough books I haven't read.
Exactly.
I could spend my entire life reading if I gave up all other forms of media.
Right. The reason I'm not willing to pay so much is because there's just so many books. I could just spend the rest of my life reading Project Gutenberg and never have another book. So
yet for the book club, you choose a relatively new and not super cheap or free book.
No, I don't.
Huh?
But you know what?
Was that book? Yeah. Well, we haven't read it yet, so I can't say if it's worth it.
You know how I acquired said book?
You pirated it
with my friend Captain. That's how I got that book.
I might pay for it just because.
It's supposed to be a really good book.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You don't want to give that author any money. Fuck that.
Well, I mean, you know.
Well,
Well, what?
you pirated it.
I pirated a lot of things.
Yep.
That's how the way our world works.
So what if the book's awesome? You gonna rectify that? You're just gonna let it be not paid for?
No, but I might buy other books by the author.
Or
If
we just
if
pirate those?
Or maybe not. It's
Anyway.
a case-by-case basis decision making here, right? You know, it's how it goes. You know, I don't know if I'm gonna like it yet. I'm not gonna pay for it before I know if I like it, right? It's some land of mystery.
No.
Anyway. But yeah, this is good to see, right? Because the music industry already sort of did this, and now, you know, even though it didn't help them because they're still stupid, and now books are doing it. So pretty much it's movies and, you know, video games sort of, kind of, maybe did it, kind of, in some cases.
Except Steam.
Yeah, it's sort of DRM, but sort of not. It sort of is. It is. It is.
The only difference.
There's no beating around the bush. It's DRM.
The only difference that Steam makes a very important point, not to shift the topic and dwell on this, that there is a kind of DRM that is permissive enough and safe enough from a company that we trust enough because they have enough goodwill with the right prices.
They
to where
still.
I'll do it.
It's still bullshit though that you should be able to transfer any Steam game to someone else.
Yeah, but
sell.
that will not happen without the Supreme Court saying that we have a right to first sale on digital goods.
Well, we've already had courts like 1 or 2 steps under that say the very thing.
Scott, the Supreme
Remember
Court.
the AutoCAD case?
The current Supreme Court.
Autodesk versus what's his face?
Scott, the current Supreme Court. What do you think they are gonna rule on something like that?
That's why no lawyers have pushed it.
Yeah,
because they know it's not right. But anyway,
they're not even gonna listen to a case like that.
But this gives me hope that maybe within like a few years, the stupid movie people will come around, right? If I owned a big movie company, you know what I would do? This is what I would do. I mean, we talk about this all the time anyway. But it's like when a movie came out, I would have it out in the theater and on the DVD and in digital and the Blu-ray and the TV pay-per-view and the TV HBO and everything and every country and every language simultaneously. And that would be it. It would just be the release. It's out. You like Netflix? It's on Netflix. You like downloading an HD for $5? It's there.
So
no
Scott,
DRMs and no nothing.
So Scott, you're gonna finish your thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're American. It's in English.
Yep.
You're gonna wait to release it until you translate it into every human language.
The translation would be simultaneous.
So you're gonna hire people
production.
to translate it during production into every human language.
No, any language which was profitable to translate it into. Right? You're not going to translate it into Swahili if you don't have a lot of fans in speak Swahili. But obviously, you know, French, Chinese, probably good bets. Spanish, probably a good idea, right? You know, there's big fans, you know.
Why not
Hindi,
just Esperanto? Then everyone in the world will understand it.
because nobody understands this. Portuguese, probably a good choice. A lot of people in Brazil.
So there's one thing that apparently the entire world can agree on,
Things
with the
of the
exception
day?
of one people.
That things of the day are awesome.
Oh, you want me to say it? Okay. Things of the day. That salmiakki is fucking awful unless you're Finnish.
It's disgusting.
So this is a real commercial, as far as I can tell, from Finland. And the catchphrase is...
I'm pretty sure that is the most popular salmiakki brand because that's the one that I see the most often.
So the catchphrase is basically the world hated, Finnish beloved. Mailman Vihatwin, Swoman Rakatstatuin. Timo's probably like banging his head against the wall.
I'm sure the Finnish listeners are just like...
No, but I've learned that the word for world in Finnish is apparently mailman. Like straight up. I
think it's ma'aliman.
Yeah, but it's mailman. Anyway, so the commercial shows a whole bunch of non-Finnish people eating the salmiakki flavored ice cream.
The ice cream looks like a Klondike bar and a steak, but it's a diamond, which is the shape of the salmiakki.
They're reacting. I think one guy says something like, "This is fucking horrible." Like they can't deal with it. And then it cuts to a bunch of Finnish people, and they're all like, "Oh, it was great, salmiakki, yeah."
It's ice cream that tastes like salmiakki, yeah.
And
they just keep eating it.
I love the fact that the advertising campaign for this salmiakki is basically everybody hates this except you.
Yeah, it's
Aren't
like
you awesome?
It's like be awesome Finnish people that like things the rest of the world hates. Aren't we better than the rest of the world? Oh yeah, because we like this thing.
I also like this word utus that, as far as Google knows, means novelty.
Okay.
But it's got 4 U's in it and only 2 other letters.
I gotta
think
say,
that's a
it
good
really
word.
this commercial really has sort of balls, the same way those Domino's commercials have balls, where
Yep.
they're like, our pizza sucks, but come on, $8, and we know it sucks. We tried to improve it. Just try it at least once.
It reminds me a little bit of that Massachusetts commercial. Massachusetts.
All right, anyway. So check out this thing of the day.
I'm checking.
Do you remember that video that was a thing of the day a long time ago that was so awesome?
Yeah,
which
that
was,
video that was the awesome thing of the day.
That was how a differential works in a car.
Oh, yeah.
Great video. This video is Mechanical Principles. It's a 1930 film. It's by Ralph Steiner. It's 4 minutes long. And it shows you all kinds of really clever mechanical things to where it's like, oh, snap.
Those are sexy gears. They all have the same cadence where you watch it and
In
you
fact,
go, huh?
look, I'm looking at the video on YouTube
Oh.
right now, and the 4th suggestion is how differential gear works, parentheses, best tutorial. So, yeah, I always like these kind of videos, and I think, this sort of mechanical engineering is not a lost art, because you can go to school and learn this if you want to, but it used to be sort of like the only thing, right? But now, there's a lot more kinds of engineering, at different, and there's even in kinds of engineering, there's multiple levels, right? Like you might work on cars, but only work on like computers in cars, or you might only work on like combustion engine, and so it's like this sort of raw mechanical engineering thing. There's fewer and fewer people who know it, and it's so awesome. And when you look at it, it's like, oh shit, that's sweet. When did people get so smart?
So in the meta moment, this weekend, the 28th and 29th, is the Mocha Fest 2012 in New York.
If you don't know, from past years, we've gone to this thing like 5 or 6 years in a row.
It's one of my favorite things of the year.
It's the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art, which is a museum that you can go to. I'm a member. I think it hasn't expired, my membership.
Mine did expire because I forgot to renew it.
It's their festival, which is basically what they do is that museum sponsors this festival, which is their biggest fundraiser of the year.
It is technically a fest.
Yes, they go to the Lexington Armory, which is their current location. Years ago, it used to be a different building.
The Puck Building.
And they fill it with tables, and they sell those tables to indie comic publishers and indie comic artists.
It is
even
great.
Some non-indies.
You will have like super professional, world famous artists next to a kid who hand drew something and stapled it together
Some
and cut it out
SVA
himself.
student kid.
Yep.
Most of the time.
A lot of SVA and RISD stuff there.
And those SVA kids are really good.
Yeah, they are. They
but
stand out. We
but
usually play the
anyway.
game. SVA?
Yeah, right. And basically what you do is you go to this thing, you buy a ticket, you just buy it at the door, and you walk around for 2 to 3 hours looking at every single booth, and it's all totally awesome, and you get a sack full of comics. Then you go eat lunch somewhere nearby, and then you go home, and it is the awesome weekend. It's 2 days if you're really obsessed, but you really only need to go for a few hours on one day. That's all that's necessary. It'd be too crowded if everyone stayed the whole time.
Yep. Just walk around.
There are some cool panels if you really want to wait in line and figure out where they are and such. I've never found it worth it, but there are amazing people at these panels.
The key is to walk around the entire place methodically and stop at every booth and just look at what's there. And I defy you, unless you don't bring money with you on purpose, to walk out without a pile of comics.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of times people, especially people without a lot of money, are money conscious. At the Mocha, the strategy is do not care about monies except for crazy cases, right? So it's like just go around, and if you see something cool, just get it. And the only times that you would hold back is like giant fancy $100 hardcover. Then you can start to think about maybe not buying it. But, it's like, oh, a little foldy comic someone printed at Kinko's, buy that. Ooh, a cute little turtle thing, buy that. Oh, it's a comic about poop, gotta buy that, right? And just
I still have the Diarrhea Diaries.
just fill up your bag with all the goodies, and then when you get home, everyone you brought with you just spread the shit out on the floor and be like, oh, snap.
I wish I could get more prison comics.
And then you
though.
sort of roll around in the comics like,
So, not the following weekend, but the weekend after that, May 11th and 12th, is Zenkai Con in
why so soon?
Pennsylvania. We will be
Too
there
soon.
doing 2 panels or lectures. I forget what they are, but one of them is about both My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and Dude Bro.
So
my
basically-
shit is fucked up, so I
basically-
got to shoot/slice you too. It's straight up dog time.
At least you remember the name.
How could you forget that?
So basically rehashing an old panel that is good and
Mashing it
throwing-
up with another concept
Throwing
about mashups.
throwing ponies in there to get people in the door.
Not just that, we got some points to make.
Yeah.
And when we're only going to be there Saturday. When we're not
It's a Friday and Saturday con.
doing our thing at the convention, we're probably
Scott Johnson
gonna
knows
be,
they're only going to be there Saturday, right?
I assume so. We're pretty much going to be hanging out in the little tabletop area playing German board games.
Yeah, they have a very tiny tabletop area. I don't know if it'll be changed this year and be less tiny, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they actually have, it's not the greatest game selection, which still goes to Kineticon as the greatest board game library. It's not as big as the PAX one, which, while not as good as the Kineticon one in terms of selection, is very large. But they do have choice stuff, and they have a large amount of it relative to the amount of people playing it. So it is definitely good time tabletop at ZenkaiCon, in addition to all their other great programming, which is mostly anime and sci-fi-ish stuff in nature.
Yep. It's one of the few cons where if you want to hang out with us, we're kind of just chilling. We don't have any
It's one of the only
agenda.
small cons we go to, and we go because our friends run it.
Yep. Speaking of cons our friend run, we do all the panel programming for Kineticon, which is July 13th, 14th, and 15th this year. So make your panels. I'll put the link in. I'm already scheduling, so get your panel in as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, the less likely it is that I will accept your panel or give you a time that isn't like 8 a.m. on Friday.
But we do have a lot more rooms this year.
11 rooms!
So we can fit a lot in there, so we do need as many applications as possible, because the more applications we get, the more, we can pick out the chocolate and get rid of the shit. If we get like 2 applications and they're both shit, well, guess what? There's going to be 2 shitty panels, end of con.
So 2 weekends after that is Otakon. I'm just saying, you anime fans, if you want us to be at Otakon, tell Otakon that. Because we went to 9, we presented
We could
panels.
just buy badges and we go.
I'm not going to go as an attendee.
Me either.
I'm going to go because you guys want me to show you some anime.
That's right.
But I think 7 years in a row, we did panels at Otakon. So if we're not there, it's because they didn't want us, not because we did not offer.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, PAX Prime, not too long after that.
Badges went on sale for PAX Prime today.
Pause Geeknights now. Go buy 'em.
If you are going to go to PAX Prime
If you even
in
think,
Seattle,
if you think you might go,
immediately, this second, as in pause Geeknights and buy the badges. If you don't, then shut up, you're not going. Just assume you're not going if you don't buy them right now.
So Scott, how long before it sells out? What do you think? What's the over/under?
A month or 2.
I want to make a bet.
They brought the site down today. There was so much traffic trying to register.
I'll bet you 60 days from today,
That's what I just said.
it'll be sold out. Exactly. How much you willing to bet?
I don't bet monies on things that I am not 100% sure of.
So then you don't bet.
What I can do is I will tell you this. I will go and look at the official PAX Twitter account, and I will look through the archives to last year to find the exact day they sold out last time and the day they went on sale last
I
time.
think that will be a failing proposition.
See how
for
many
you.
days it took to sell out last year. I will bet that it will be less days than that.
That's a sure bet.
That's why I'm betting. I only bet when it's a sure bet.
Considering how many people were denied access to PAX East, and considering this time in particular, how many people panicked when they didn't get badges to PAX East, they went to the Prime website and saw they couldn't buy badges and assumed that was also sold out. And PAX Dev and other stuff, and then not too long after that, PAX East.
Is PAX Dev even for sure?
Because
it wasn't an explosive success last time. I mean, it was just kind of cool, and they haven't officially said that they're doing it again. So
However,
it may or may not happen.
The website is still up, and there is a countdown to August 24th, 2011. But
I guess that means it's happening.
2011.
Oh.
But it is counting down.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. It's not counting up.
Well, we don't know if there will be a PAX Dev 2 or not.
I will probably go if there is, but we'll see.
If I have vacation days, I would
I will try to
like
confirm. I'll do some investigative journalism for you if it is in fact happening or not.
We could just email somebody we know and be like, hey.
That's investigative journalism. Ask somebody and then follow up on that asking.
Okay.
That's what you do. If that doesn't work, then you go and look at stuff.
All right, so Animes.
So Lupin III, the woman called Fujiko Mine, is the first Lupin thing in a long time.
Well, the first Lupin thing in a long time that wasn't just one of those made-for-TV movies that they make for every year.
That I did not ignore. Because it is common knowledge that the quality of a Lupin-related thing, and in terms of time from, what was the last good Lupin thing? There's got to be
It's hard
something
to
after Mamo that was at least decent.
There was the movie where they were in
The Secret, the
Rio.
village where Lupin keeps all his stuff.
I don't remember what year that one was, though.
Yeah, I know. That might have been the
Nor
last
what
good
that
one.
one was named.
There was the one where Lupin was dead.
There's the one about where Zenigata loses his job
Yeah.
and he's eating ramen and he's all sad.
It's pretty much Fuma Conspiracy and Cagliostro for me.
Well, and the two TV series, the old one and the newer one. The
Anyway,
second TV series is the one that was on Cartoon
The
Network.
point is, Lupin recently has not been, shall we say, exciting and or choice.
Yeah, he's sort of like one of those things where he's a popular, well-known character in Japan, and they sort of bring him out every year. You know, like maybe he's like equal in popularity to like Garfield in the U.S., something like that. You know, it's like everyone knows him, but you know, not too many crazy fans. You know, not super ultra popular constantly, but he comes around all the time. And
It's like, imagine if James Bond's stuff in America were more prolific.
yeah. So
And not all that good, even though it's not all that good. Though
Yeah.
I think Timothy Dalton gets a bad rap, but I digress.
But anyway, so they bring out, you know, a new TV series. That's sort of a big deal because it's like, whoa, it's just been sort of like one made-for-TV movie per year.
Now I heard this, and I was like, oh, whatever, it's gonna be another shit Lupin. And then I saw the art, and I thought, there's no way the show looks like this. Then I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it was not a Wonder Woman situation.
And in the trailer, I thought, there is no way the show looks like this. It looks like that.
The show looks like the cover.
It is great.
Looks
And
like the
I
opener.
really like it.
Well, the art obviously is
Yes.
astounding, right? I mean, I love it when, you know, anyone tries to do a unique style and they just went all out with it.
But it is such a, like, it's like homage to the old, like, 70s style Lupin and
Right, it's like,
animation,
this
but
is-
yet it's also got a modern sensibility.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that what they've done with this show is they've taken the core of what Lupin is all about and applied the modern sensibility and mixed it up. So you're watching it and you see like the old school Lupin shine through this, you know, modern, you know, totally brand new anime sheet. And it's like, oh snap, this is awesome.
And it's telling that we are somewhat disconnected from the majority of anime fans because the first comment when this was first announced on the Funimation website is, and I quote,
What's Lupin?
I watched episode 1 and liked it. My one complaint is I'm not sure I like this animation style. The thing that made me the most excited is the thing the first person who got off his butt to post about I guess this is the last comment, not the first comment. It's sorted weirdly. Anyway, that's the first comment you see if you look here.
Okay, sure.
So, Scott, you want to do the 1, 2, 3? Even though I think we've tipped our hand.
There's no point.
I think we've tipped our hand. I really like this show, but not.
I mean, it's good, but it's
well-
not. Oh yeah, the awesomest.
Well,
it's
Scott,
just like
this is a
it's good.
preview. We've only seen 3 episodes,
That's enough.
and it's on the level of I will watch the next episode when it comes out.
Of course.
pretty much right away.
What day does it come out?
I don't even know. I just check every day.
I'll check like once a week, probably on the weekend, and just watch it.
There have been 3 episodes, and if you have not watched this yet, if you're an anime fan, just watch it. Just watch it. Don't even ask about it.
We should mention that in order to watch it, you need to go and get a free login at Funimation's website.
But then it just works.
and then you search for Lupin and then watch it. Now, the thing is, this show is not actually about Lupin, which every previous Lupin has been, or at least most of them. It's actually about Fujiko, right? And the thing is, so far, the 3 episodes, the first episode was Fujiko and Lupin, the second episode is Fujiko and Jigen, and the third episode is Fujiko and Goemon. So it's like, it's about Fujiko, but it's also about the other Lupin characters. Also, it's, you know, I don't know what's canon and what's not. You know, Lupin isn't the kind of it's more like Lupin is more like a Matsumoto verse kind of situation.
I was about to say, well, was Captain Harlock before or after Lupin?
Right.
Castle of Cagliostro.
Exactly. But this is chronologically an ultra prequel. Like episode 1 was the first meeting of Lupin and Fujiko. Theoretically, even though that may have been portrayed in a manga or an anime previously, this is
But the thing is,
the beginning.
The majority of anime fans in America probably have seen maybe 1 or 2 Lupin movies. And
Maybe. I think
maybe an episode or 2 of the TV show because it was on TV.
I actually think newer fans, right? Anyone, you know, have not seen any, and it's sort of like, you know, it's like so. there's like the current generation of fan hasn't seen any Lupin, might not even know who he is. The previous generation, some of them saw it on Cartoon Network, and then the generation before that and before that
watched every
would
movie.
only have seen it if they were like us with the anime club kind of situation where someone's exposing you to Lupin on purpose.
But my point
and
is
then
that
of course the old school people know all
this
about it.
show, it's a super prequel that requires no knowledge of Lupin whatsoever other than the vague idea that Lupin is a thief.
Well, okay, it doesn't require knowledge of Lupin, right? You can watch this and completely understand everything that's going on, and it will introduce the characters to you. But a lot of the enjoyment comes from already knowing, you don't need to know the plots or any particular previous Lupin show or movie, but you have to know the characters' personalities and what they're about. And if you know that, then watching this gives you that special extra
Well, Scott, we've said
enjoyment.
the same thing about other things before. I mean, even the movie of Galaxy Express is like a compressed,
Yeah,
like,
but I
there's
think-
moments in it where you think about what happened in the show and it feels very different.
I'm just saying that if I knew nothing about Lupin and I watched this, it probably would have been okay and not really good.
I think it still would have been pretty good because
Pretty good, but not really
the
good.
characters that are presented are fascinating in their pathologies.
They are, indeed.
And that alone, I'd be really interested in following that thread. But of course, we have the knowledge of the way Lupin and her interact is special just for the sense that she is the one who straight up kills that guy.
Yeah.
And Lupin is the one like, whoa, really? You killed him? Jesus. I mean, I'll kill people, but come on.
Right?
And the way that she interacts with Goemon is great if you have seen all the rest of Lupin.
Yeah. I think it's really cool in that, it doesn't, even though it has the same visual style and the same sort of idea that's a prequel, it focuses on Fujiko, is that so far the 3 different episodes have been very different. The first episode, which was about Lupin and Fujiko, had a lot of that Lupin wackiness and zaniness going on, right? Like, oh my God, there's a dude riding a Buddha made of drugs, right? That's so Lupin, riding a motorcycle on a clown face.
Yep.
That's what he does,
You know,
right?
we've talked about
and it
this
also
recently
had
a lot,
Zenigata showing up.
that people think of Cagliostro as the archetypical Lupin. No, that is atypical Lupin. Typical Lupin is drug Buddha.
Right. The Jigen episode, right, was very serious and dark, and
It felt very
a
like,
lot of killing people and serious and
but
about
also
his dark
it felt
past.
very like fistful of dollars, kind of like a modern Western because of what he was doing. He's a bodyguard for the mob who killed his former boss. What's
Right.
going on?
And then the Goemon episode was sort of like, sweet and cute and sort of funny. And, a lot of ridiculous cutting of things.
I have cut yet another trifling thing.
Yeah, that's, if you don't know, that's like a catchphrase. So it's like, you would sort of get it, but it's like he's used that catchphrase before
But
forever.
here's the thing. This show, I feel like if you don't know anything about Lupin, you'll see Goemon cutting all the clothes off people. And watching just this episode.
Did you notice that after he cut the dude's clothes off, then they ran to the next train car, the guy still had the clothes off?
Yeah.
That shows you that they're paying attention in this show.
But the fact that the sheer ridiculosity of that moment is very muted by everything else that is going on around it to where you almost just go with it.
The thing is, I'm wondering, right? This 4th episode, is it out yet?
I don't know, but
Is it going to be, right? Number one, it could focus on Zenigata, but Zenigata was sort of in the Lupin episode.
He was, but he was after Lupin, not after her.
Exactly. It also, alternatively, right? Even if it is or if it isn't, either the 4th or the 5th episode, is it just going to be a Fujiko doing something on her own? Are they going to start a plot that actually links the serial plot, or is it continue to be episodic? Or are they going to start bringing the characters together? Because it's still, the show is supposed to be about Fujiko, right? Also, how many episodes is the show going to be in total?
I didn't even look that up.
Yeah. So this is going to be pretty interesting, but I'm going to watch and continue to watch whatever they put out for as long as
12 episodes.
I'm watching the whole thing, no matter what.
And there are no titles yet for the rest of the episodes.
Oh, keeping me in suspense.
Yeah.
Snap. But yeah, good job on them, putting the episodes for free streaming on Funimation.com with subtitles right away. I can't complain.
Yeah.
I mean, oh no, I have to log in. I made the account, and you don't even have to verify email address. It just works.
So the one thing that I do want to touch on is that it is, shall we say, boobtacular?
Boobtacular. Boobs-tastic?
Boobs. But
Lots of boobs. I mean, Fujiko has been known for showing off her gigantic, crazy boobs,
I guess
which are even bigger than Naga the Serpent's boobs.
what I can say about this, and I say this without any hint of irony, I'm not, making a joke, that these boobs are surprisingly earnest homage, and they are to like exploitative boobs from 70s shows or old Lupin what Black Dynamite is to blaxploitation movies.
Exactly. But the boobs come out even in the Gomon episode, the boobs came out.
But at the same time,
the boobs are all, usually when you watch an opener to an anime, there'll be like one boob shot. This
all
is
boobs.
nothing but boob shots, right? And it's not even like James Bond openers where you get a boob silhouette. It's just boobs. All over the place.
But at the same time, it's starting to really fit in this narrative. Like if you've seen a bunch of Lupin, but you haven't like read the manga and watched all the TV shows, so like you know who these characters are, but you don't like really know the stories or the back history or anything, then Fujiko usually is portrayed as this kind of foil to Lupin. It's kind of a bitch, messes everything up, funny, like she comes in and messes stuff up at the last minute. But this is portraying her much more as someone who is deeply disturbed in the same kind of way. Like you're getting this impression that she, Goemon, Lupin, Zenigata, and Jigen are deeply disturbed people with...
Yeah, it's trying to seriously examine their actual characters
why do they
while
steal?
keeping their characters completely ridiculous as they were in the original show.
Now, some of the Lupins
it's
have
sort
gone
of
into
like how
that.
they took Batman, right? And at first Batman was just, detective, whatever. And then later on they tried to examine him like, oh, he's a crazy guy. His parents got shot, whatever.
There have been some Lupins
Is
that get
Bruce
into
Wayne or Batman the Mask?
why does the Lupin steal? Like the one where they have his village where he puts all the stuff he steals.
Yep.
And it's the treasure, and it's always something like that. But we haven't gotten that for the other characters, and this is sort of...
Also,
like,
nothing's canon, right? It's like they probably just forget all that.
no, but this show is sort of taking the other characters and putting their pathologies in stark relief and really focusing on them through the lens of following Fujiko and how pretty fucked up she is.
Yeah, they're all fucked up. I mean,
Yeah,
right?
but by using her as the focus, it's putting all of the other characters in a similar focus, even though they're not the actual focus of the show.
Yeah, well, I mean, because most other Lupins, the focus was always on the plot, or and the characters were just sort of being themselves the whole time. There was very little character development in most Lupin things. And even when there is, it doesn't necessarily stick, right? Like there might be something that explains there might, try to add something to someone's past to, as part of the plot of a particular movie or episode, but that doesn't really stick and it's not really mentioned outside of that movie or episode. And based on the ending animation for this new show, right? It seems like they're going to explore Fujiko's past somehow because they show all these like pictures of her like when she was young and such. So it's like, oh, they're going to tell us about what Fujiko was doing, how she got here, because that's never explained in anything that I can remember ever watching.
That closer definitely makes a very dark implication that she has always been this way.
But it's also sort of because it's like, oh, 15-year-old Fujiko with boobies hanging out sort of cowering. And it's like,
I did not get the impression of cowering. I got the impression of doing the same kind of tricks that she pulls all the time. There is this dark implication in that closer that that her pathology is a defect of the womb, that she has always been that way.
Yeah. Well, the ending is a little creepy. That's all I'm saying.
So the director, Sayo Yamamoto.
What else have they done?
It's one of those interesting stories of someone who hasn't really done a lot of straight up direction.
What's the studio?
But has done a whole bunch of like storyboards and unit direction and episode direction for a whole bunch of other stuff.
And they got their chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing he directed was
You sure it's a dude?
Technolize.
You sure it's a dude?
No, it's not a dude.
Oh. Okay.
I tend to say he a lot. There's actually a picture of her right here, right in front of me while I'm talking.
What's the studio?
I don't know. I gotta look it up.
It should be right there on the page that you're on.
I'm on the director page.
Oh. Cricket. Good job.
I found it. I just don't know these companies. The animation production is Potential with the number 10 and TMS Entertainment.
What?
Yeah, that's the animation.
It has to be like
production.
Madhouse or Production IG or some.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of different stuff.
You're not very good at this.
NTV and TMS Entertainment. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with either of those. It's not any of the studios anyone knows. Tokyo Movie Shinsha.
Oh, I know that. Don't you remember, like, there was, like, back in the day, there was, you see stuff with Tokyo Movie Station, like Rosa Versailles.
Ah.
Rosa Versailles, and it has its Tokyo Movie Station.
All right, here, I found the gold mine.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, that's more than 10. So it's TMS Entertainment, Tokyo Movie Shinsha. They did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, a whole bunch of all the other Lupins.
I guess that's who does Lupin.
Yeah, The Last Job, Stolen Lupin, all the ones I haven't seen. Oh, they did Pai Cal. Remember Pai Cal?
No.
You really don't?
No.
Green versus Red, which I didn't see, actually.
Didn't see that either.
I wanted to. I thought it would be good, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I'm going to watch the rest of it. I can't really finally review it because for all we know, it goes to crap after,
Yeah.
3 episodes we've seen.
I doubt it'll go to complete crap. Also, we've done shows on Lupin before, at least 2 of them, I'm pretty sure. So maybe, if you watch this, or maybe go watch some other Lupins. I recommend watching, of course, Castle of Cagliostro and Puma Conspiracy.
Yep.
And the second...
I would recommend watching Mamo just to know what Lupin's really like.
Yeah, you can watch the second TV series. That's pretty good.
That's a little more like campy, punny.
Well, that's what Lupin's...
A lot more lighthearted.
That's what it's about.
Nah, some of the other movies are less punny and campy and a little more
but
weird.
Yeah, but you can learn all about Lupin. The manga is way different.
Yep.
And, the first TV series, I never saw it. But, whatever.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.